What's happening? Man, welcome to another episode of Little Coffee and Coaching. Got a little bulletproof coffee flying this morning. Hope you guys are doing well and kicking some butt this week. So, really, what I wanted to kind of dive in and share with you guys today. Hey, Missy. Is really just the concept of agreements versus expectations. I think this is a it's a real big get from a leadership perspective, and really in all equities in all areas of our life. And really our success is and failure therefore is really dependent upon agreements versus expectations. And the one thing that if what we really have to understand is that, the expectations are really all they are just the stories that one believes how others should behave. Okay. I'll say that again for you guys. Expectations are the stories that I believe how others should behave. And so, as we know, kind of the combination, right? The ultimate code to unlock anything in our life is really, understanding that anywhere we start, right? And so if we belief, let's start right there. Belief is just a collection of our thoughts. And how we believe and what we think leads to how we feel, right? And how we feel really leads to how we behave. And how we behave leads to our results. So in any situation, if we're not getting the results we want, it's because we're behaving in a way that's not delivering those results, and we're behaving a certain way or not behaving a certain way like we should, is because we feel this way. And the reason that we feel is because it's how we're thinking, right? So therefore thinking leads to feelings leads to action or inaction, therefore leads to a certain kind of result. And really the circumstances, the environment, if you will, the environment that we have, that we surround ourselves with, really tends to lead to those beliefs. So I just wanted to share that combination, because that is the ultimate combination, right? That's the, any code, right, can unlock anything in our lives. And that's the code. And so being able to have that and have that understanding can really unlock anything that you want in any equity of your life. But coming back to the whole concept of agreements versus expectations, and like I said, it's, our success is dependent upon it, right? It is having that. And so when we look at it, it's understanding that having an expectation because I believe that's how you should behave. Well, just because I believe something doesn't mean it's true. So, and when we fall into that and believe how other people should behave and act, that is just going to, we're going to be disappointed like 10 times out of 10. And so what we want to really take a look at is understanding, damn, man, if I have an expectation for somebody, that's going to lead to just things not getting done the way that I want to get them done. So when we establish an agreement, then you don't have to manage people anymore. I don't know about you guys, but I don't want to manage anyone, right? I want to have an agreement And what gets managed is that agreement. Okay. And so if you have an expectation for another human being, you will be let down 100% of the time. Okay. If you just rely on expectations, you are going to live a life of disappointment 100%. Okay. So when we don't have expectations anymore, then there's nothing to be disappointed about. So the focus has to be on creating agreements. Okay. It's so much more effective, right? Commitments and agreements. That's what gets managed. You don't manage people. You can't manage another human being. Okay. So establish a commitment, establish an agreement, and manage the shit out of that. Right. That's how you get more things done. That's how you have less angst, right? You have less frustration, right? And you're able to focus on what it is, your bigger cause. You're the things that you're the contribution to have the greater impact, right? You're able to focus on those things. And so, and let's talk about empathy, right? Empathy is being able to put yourself in somebody else's shoes. And so, think about that, right? If you don't have an agreement, just to manage, if you have a team member, or even we can even take it to the relationship perspective, is that, if you don't have some type of commitment or agreement and really managing that, then think about that other person waking up every day is like, okay, what does my partner expect from me today? What do my kids expect from me today? What does my boss expect from me today? And, just imagine trying to live a life of just guessing what people want you to be and live up to. So it's a no-win situation, guys. And honestly, it just can't be accomplished. So, if we just leave it from an expectation, they're always going to be adding expectations. And especially if you're a high driving, growth minded human being that is full throttle, if somebody's working with you, there's a reason that they're working with you and they're not doing their own thing. And so they're not going to be driven and drive as hard as you can. But you can establish some type of a commitment and agreement that's going to push them, and what to expect from that agreement if that agreement is kept. So it's just such a more productive way to live, right? And all productivity is just getting the results we're after. So if we're looking for a more efficient way to get a better result, then we don't leave it up to an expectation. We nail down the agreement. And you can, go back to the whole, there are no business problems. There's only leadership problems. Well, this is a leadership concept, right? If you want to be a better leader, and here's the thing, if you have kids, you're a leader, right? Within your community, if you have obligations, you're in a leadership role, whether you realize it or not. And so you're better off, getting a clear agreement of, hey, what is success? Let's define what is success for what I'm willing to commit to, and then let's work from there. And so it just avoids, misunderstanding and confusion, right? And, when we have an agreement, it gets us to the result the fastest, right? And so that's what we're looking for, right? All productivity is getting the result we're after. How do we be more productive? We have clear agreements, and we know what the commitment that we're willing to commit to accomplish that. It's not easy. It's not easy, right? Agreements take some time. Take conversation, take getting clear on what it is that we really want to accomplish, and who we're making that agreement with, and are they willing to commit to that? And so it's such a powerful poconcept. And, I just can't stress it enough. And any and all times that I've encountered, and then also have encountered, in conversations with coaching clients over the years, is like, well, what was the agreement? And you hear silence, right? Because, well, we have an agreement, we have a contract. I said, so pull it out, revisit it. I said, when's the last time you guys have looked at it? Does the agreement need to be adjusted? And so that's the biggest thing that I can just stress to you guys with this concept is that it will save you. It'll save you so much frustration. It works in every concept, not just with a team member, but in the simplest of forms, right? The trash will be overflowing, right? And I'll be like, why in the hell do these boys not just grab and take this trash out? And I have to remind myself, is there an agreement with the boys to take the trash out? And all the time, right? The answer is no. The answer is no. There is no agreement. Hey, we didn't come to an agreement that the boys do this. Now, should we establish an agreement when the trash gets full that it goes out and whoever sees it that it's full, boys, to take it out? Yeah, absolutely, we should. There's times too, like even and you guys can appreciate this. I'll get frustrated at Holly about something, and could be just the dumbest thing that you could even imagine, and I'll get frustrated and I'll stop and be like, early on, and I've gotten a lot better over the years with this, but early on I would get frustrated and I pouty pants and stomping my feet and then realize like we ain't got no damn agreement in place on whatever it is that I was getting frustrated about. And so then that comes back to the 100-0 principle, 100% accountability, 0 excuse. And so I'm like, I know I don't have an agreement. Why am I getting pissed? I'm the fool, right? And so if it's really, really a big deal, we need to sit down and have an agreement around this. And 10 times out of 10, if you will just sit down and have that conversation with another human being, they're gonna be like, yeah, cool. Yeah, let's get an agreement in place. And then from there, you're able to have that conversation and manage towards that agreement. It sounds simple. And something that like, yeah, I get it. I get that. But 75% of you guys, don't have agreements in place. And that's why, you have a lot of frustration. And the biggest thing too, guys, is constantly, reevaluating what those agreements are. Remember, right things, right order. There's always a combination. You've got to do things in a certain way. And so, when we look at, okay, hey, what's the goal? What is it that we're trying to accomplish? And something to evaluate every quarter, right? Whatever it is. I wouldn't let more than 90 days go by. But once we get clear on what it is we're trying to accomplish, no matter what, right? No matter what equity, then it's like, okay, what does the team have to look like in order to support and hit that goal? And then within those team members, what are they willing to commit to, and what is the agreement that we need to happen to make that possible? And so if the goal changes, if the target moves, if something, hey, that wasn't what we thought, we're going to shift a little bit. This is the kind of the recalibrate the goal. Well, where people stop is that they don't go recalibrate the agreement. So you've got to, if you change up the goal, you change up the target, you may still have the same person because they still have the skill set to, I don't drink coffee. I just have coaching anytime. So the that recalibration of the agreement has to change. And almost every time that frustration starts to sink in, but that agreement didn't change. So it's got to go back and, oh shit, I got it. I missed that. So go back, sit down. Hey, here's what we need to agree upon in order to get the result, right? Get the result. And this is what we need to agree that defines success. And then from that point, as we define success, are they willing to commit to that? That's the other thing, right? The agreement is got to be, we can shake on it, we can put it in writing, we can sign off on it, but that's the agreement, and we're going to manage the agreement. And so anytime that something's off or we're not getting the results from that, what we think we should be getting, go back and revisit the agreement. And a lot of the times, you're going to like, oh shit, yeah, that is, I think we were off. Maybe we need to revisit this. What are your thoughts? So it just leads to better conversations and making sure that we're focused on getting to right. I've shared the concept on previous episode talking about outcome over ego. And, outcome, top of the line really is just about getting to right. Ego is about trying to be right. And so, from an agreement standpoint, we're just focused on getting to right and, trying to move towards what it is that we want to accomplish. Right. So it's just really, really key to understand that concept. And like I tell you guys, if you get frustrated with another human being, it's because you don't have an agreement in place every time. So always start there, right? If there's a frustration, sit back and say, hey, do we have an agreement around this? If not, should we, right? Should we have an agreement? And then if so, let's do it. Sometimes it may just be piddly bullshit that you're telling yourself that just you need to get over, right? You need to do it and just get over it and quit making a deal about it. So you just got to kind of evaluate when those things arise. I think it's helpful to involve them in the planning phase for the change to make that agreement easier. 100%. If they're not a part of it or they don't have the buy-in, then they're not going to support it. That's why, strategically within your organizations, as you guys are growing, no matter what size you're at, you always want to get the perspective and the viewpoint of anybody on the team. And just because you may have done that role or done that function in the past doesn't mean that, you're able to see everything, right? We all have blind spots. And that's why we want the viewpoint and perspective of everybody on our team, because it's all about getting to right. What we reveal, we can heal. And your team members have those blind spots. And that's what coaches do, right? Coaches help us reveal our blind spots. And remember, it's all about getting to right. And it's like, oh shit, I didn't see that. Thank you for pointing that out. How do we overcome that? How do we accomplish that? How do we fix it? And I mean, here's a perfect situation where the coach had come in and helped me, right? So as we've been building up for events all this year, and obviously it's a moving target. There's nothing that they can put in stone. So, Ironman Texas was supposed to be in April. We were ramping and building up for that. And then all of this crap hit. And so, we were actually building for two, right? Within 30 days, we were doing Texas and Tulsa. And so Tulsa immediately postponed to 21. Well, Texas moved to October the 17th. And so now we're ramping for here in October. We're about 30 days away. And they still haven't told us yes or no. It's still on the board. So we're still training as if. And, I told coach, right? Cause I agreed to the training plan. So I've been sticking to it, but it's been real hard. And, I had a real hard conversation with coach. And I was like, I'm not feeling it. Right. Mentally, I don't want to train. I don't want to sit 5 hours on the bike, not knowing if we're going to race or not. And so, being able to have that and reveal those blind spots and really tapping back into, hey, this is why I committed to this. And this is, revisiting back on the agreement and to the point of being a part of the planning. I just told her, and she was awesome. She goes, cool. Here's what we're going to do. We're going to focus on rest and recovery. We're going to pull back some during the week. We're going to take off these heavy vest walks. So, be able to focus on rest and recovery, resting heart rate, your sleeping heart rate, making sure that it's getting down. And so we recalibrated the agreement a little bit, and something that I was, okay. I was like, cool. I can agree to that. I'm committed to that. Let's get after it. And so that's just really where we're at. And so it's huge. It's huge in any instance of no matter what equity, right? We're talking business, we're talking fitness, even with, your significant other, right? If you're getting frustrated with something, you need to sit down and it's not about, hey, I'm pissed off or I'm frustrated with you. It's like, hey, I think we need to have an agreement kind of around this, right? Either taking care of the house, taking care of the kiddos, another example, like when I signed up, for Ironman, before I made that commitment, I had an agreement with Holly on, hey, I'm not going to be able to take Zane to karate or jujitsu on Saturdays because I got long training days. I said, but I will take him, once or twice during the week, so I can still go. You don't have to make that drive, that time, and we'll have that agreement to where, hey, you'll take him on Saturdays and I'll take him during the week. So that was just our agreement. We agreed on that, and so it was huge. Duh, completely get this. Yeah, that's awesome. It is. It's a huge get, and once you are highly aware of it, and you start putting agreements in place and managing those agreements, you're so much more productive. You're so much life is just not, you're not carrying that around with you. And so, it's still a tough conversation if somebody's not living up to the agreement, but it's easier to approach the subject, right? I think a lot of us, we won't even approach the subject of a difficult conversation. I think that's where it's easier to jump into that conversation around, when we're talking specifically about the agreement and somebody else's commitment, and it's just easier to approach. So powerful concept. It's a huge get for you guys, and I really cannot stress it enough that you take this and apply it into your life immediately. Guys, that's really kind of my rant on agreements versus expectations. If you guys have any other questions or want to dive into anything else, definitely throw it into the chat. Or if it's something that you would rather have a conversation offline, then just message me. And what's up, Mr. Broderick? You guys can message me privately if it's something you don't want to discuss here in an open forum. And these coffee and coaching conversations have been fun. Throwing some concepts at you. Had Barbara and the Jennings on a previous episode, just kind of talking through an actual coaching dynamic. Had Coach Joel on, going to have him back on here in the near future, and just going to keep the conversation rolling for you guys. So hard when your plan depends on other people. I'm having second thoughts on a new hire, but struggling with it because having that hire in place is part of my plan. Not sure if my expectations are too high or if I'm ignoring red flags for timeline purposes. So the thing is, I heard this great quote, and this is so true. When we're really struggling with time, right? And we really think we're super efficient with our time, but we're getting sucked in, spending less than 70% of our working time on high leveraged activities, right? We've got red flags flying in the calendar. Our start stop times are, getting stretched. Our high lifetime value activities, the silence, affirmation, visualization, exercise, reading, scribing, relationships, family time, date nights, those things stop happening. And it's just more work is a huge red flag. And so, remember, right things, right order. When we're laying out our calendar, the high lifetime value activities go in first. That's where a lot of people get tripped up. They put work in first. Work isn't first, right? The relationships, the time alone, the time working on yourself, working out, reading, those things go in first. Second goes in work. And the whole objective around the work hours is that it's just a simple math equation, and it changes. And that's why we do Sunday planning. That's why we lay out week over week, because every week is different. So for example, this week, if I'm working 50 hours, 70% of that working time better be on high leveraged activities. And so in the real estate space, there's only a handful of things that really matter, right? Lead gen, lead conversion, right? Getting face-to-face, pitching your offer, negotiating deals. And if you're still working some buyers, showing homes. That's it. 70% of your working time better be around that. Obviously as the team expands, it's leadership, we have, leadership listings. Those are the two focus. You're always in the marketing. You're always in marketing, branding, lead gen is always a must. Focus on building the list. And so if you're not getting 70% of your working time on those activities, and you're doing things to service the business, paperwork, crap like that, then, and you're like, man, I don't have more time. How do I get more time? You know how you get more time? You buy it. And you buy it with, people that are gonna fill and serve functions that you're looking to serve. We've got a great client, and we were going through this exercise with her, and we got real clear on the goal, and then what does the team have to look like to support and hit the goal? And for her, it wasn't a hire in her business; it was a hire to help with the kids and help with the home. So when you're looking at it, is like, okay, who do I need to help me execute on what I'm trying to execute with this particular time of my life, the season of my life, the season of the business? And so when you're looking at it, and from a hiring standpoint, when money's right, or even close to being right, you make that hire. I remember when Kinder brought me on board, he couldn't afford me. He just flat out couldn't afford me, but he did. He made it work because he knew that's what he needed to take the jump. And so when you look at it, as part of the plan, the first steps, guys, is like, okay, what is this person going to do? There's some great delegation exercises that you guys can work through. Looking at, anything that's on your plate that you're not proficient at or that you're passionate about, make a list, right? That's what you're looking for. What are you really, really good at, and what do you love doing? And then make a list of everything that you're doing that you're not good at, and that you don't love doing. And, you can start to form the roles and responsibilities for that next key person to bring on. Establish the agreement, and then just go through the process. And what I mean by the process is that, you've got to have some type of hire. I honestly believe, outside of lead gen, building the list, marketing, the number one process you can have in your business is the hiring process. And, it's a deselection process. In the simplest of forms, just grab up the book Who by Jeff Smart and Randy Street. Jeffrey Smart is the son of Brad Smart. Brad Smart is the gentleman that created top grading and, all the top grading work. And so his son and a gentleman by the name of Randy Street have a company, and they wrote a book on their hiring process. Our hiring process is really good. There's a lot of similarities, but there's little nuances and things that they do that I really like. And so just get a copy of that book and follow that process. If you follow their process to the T, I think they're like 90+% success rate. And that's all a hiring process is doing, right? Is just increasing the probability that we're going to make a good hire. So I would go through that and then nail the agreement. Here's the thing, right? Expectations. I'll say it again. And expectation is just what you believe how somebody else should behave. And so without an agreement, then you're going to be let down 100% of the time. I would challenge you to say, I don't know if your expectations are high. I would look at it more so as like, is this my standard? Are my standards high? Now, the only standards you have are the ones you enforce. If you can say you have standards all day long, but if you're not enforcing shit, then that's your standard. that you don't enforce shit. So that's where I would look. I would look at that. I would be like, okay, well, what's the minimum standard that I will allow, that I will enforce? And that's what we're going to build this agreement around. And then you look like, hey, here it is. Are you willing to commit to this or not? And some people are just not going to be willing to commit to it. Cool. Next, right? Keep looking. You're going to find them. They're out there. There's hungry people, right? And I think also part of that process, you're looking for somebody that's hungry, humble, and smart. Those are the top three characteristics of the ideal team player. And that's Patrick Lencioni's work in his book called The Ideal Team Player. And that's what you're looking for, is somebody that's hungry, humble, and smart, that is willing to commit to what it is that you're needing done, and willing, to commit to that, and, come to an agreement of what is success and get it done. They're hard to find. Yeah. But they're there. I think the biggest thing is that you find, you look in the circles, you look in the communities, you look into the groups that have those type of people, and they may not know them, but they may know somebody that knows them. Those are usually the best hires are done through word of mouth, but they have to be done through really highly productive, successful people is who you want to connect with to find out. You don't want to be chatting with a freaking guy that, barely gets by, that, is not what it is that you strive for, right? That's the type of people that you want to reach out to and connect with. LinkedIn, social media, you got to get all the hooks in the water. And, if your advertisement is not pulling, you got to take a look at the copy. You got to take a look at the message, and does the message align with the person that you're looking for? So go through that exercise. You got to nail who they are. They're kind of their persona. They're going to embody certain characteristics and certain traits. And where a lot of times people get tripped up is that they don't get clear on who that person is. Once you know what you're looking for, you'll see it. That reticular activator starts to fire. You'll start to see it, and then you'll be able to move a lot faster. You'll be able to make the hires faster. And here's the thing: it's not 100% success rate, and people change. What does it take? About 90 days. About 90 days, people start showing their true colors. So, that's why, we always talk, set up the 90-day evaluation, right? Because at the end of 90 days, you're going to know. You're going to know, were they telling the truth, or were they BSing you? And if they were BSing you, cool, cut bait, and let's, rehire back to the position, and maybe we retweak the agreement a little bit. Maybe we retweak the roles and responsibilities a little bit. But you can stay pig-headed and think that you're just going to do it all on your own, and that's okay. But there's a lid on that ceiling. So if you want to go far, you're not going to get there by yourself. So it's all about building the team around you to help you get there. Mr. Broderick. Yes, sir. Once you have it, man, I'm telling you, it's the best. It is the most critical process that you can implement into your business, is the hiring process, being able to have some type of filter. So I just go through the book. Who, if you don't have a rock solid hiring process in your business, it needs to be one of your top priorities heading in here to the fourth quarter. Nail down the hiring process. And the simplest, easiest way, just follow the book. Who, implement their process, and you'll be off and running for sure. Hey, Doug. Yeah, I'll reach out to you. I'm slammed. So if something opens up, I'll message it, see if you're free for sure. Cool. Well, I appreciate you guys. If you guys have anything else or kind of stuck, feel free to reach out. Also know, hey, we'll be going, keep bringing these coffee and coaching conversations every week. So you guys can use them kind of as a platform to tap into to help you get unstuck, and look forward to seeing you guys on the next episode.